Okay, everyone. I'm late, but I'm here. I swear it. Yeah, you see me now. Now you see me. Okay, so, hi everyone. My name's Jared Bernard, and welcome to Robin's Hood. Sorry for the late start. YouTube sort of decided to do this thing to me where all of a sudden I was in. They're starting this sort of, I think it's a pilot project or a new way of presenting your information to you. It's a new like heads-up view, and it's just the information isn't in the same place, and I absolutely could not find where to find the edit information buttons, and so I couldn't figure that out. And then when I wanted to go back to the old one, it gave me a hard time. It kind of pleaded with me. It was like, we're trying to figure this out. Please take some time and help us with your survey. And I'm like, I gotta do this now. And anyway, so yeah, so that was my reason for starting late. My apologies. Excuse me. But anyway, I am here now. We are all set up and ready to go, and I'm here to talk to you about, well, this one's an interesting one. I'm here to talk to you about a conversation, well, really a question that I've heard and asked a million times in my own life. And I'm not talking necessarily about the question itself, but a lot about the framework. And that question is, why am I doing the thing that I know, why am I doing the thing I don't want to be doing, or the thing I know is bad for me, or why am I doing that thing that creates a result I don't want, or is keeping me from the results I do want, right? Like, why does that keep happening? And before I want to really get into that, I'll just present that as the topic. I need to analyze it properly. I need to outline a concept a base concept in biology. And it's the idea that organisms always act towards gain. Like that's a base principle. They're chemically bound toward, or both, I guess, evolutionarily and chemically bound to act towards gain. And so, keeping that in mind, when we approach the question of why am I doing something, the answer always is, because, well, what am I getting from those results, right? So I'm doing this thing because there's something I'm getting from those results. And so we need to reframe the question in order to properly answer it. And so the question then becomes, what am I getting from the results of these actions? And that's, in the reality of this video, in the idea of this video, that's the most important thing to me out of it all, is that it's building a framework, a new framework of asking a question that is designed to help you create a change. I believe, anyway, right? We ask why so that we can either get away from it or start to find a healthier way to be a part of whatever that is. So where was I there? Yeah, to change yourself. And so, again, remembering that this is the most important thing. If you remember that changing this question, so stop, if you ever find yourself asking, why am I doing that? Why did I do that? We're trying to replace it with, what is it getting me? I believe that will create a new narrative for you. And I've experienced it when I use it properly, or regularly. But that's just more, not properly, just regularly. But when I ask myself, what is it getting me? I find clearer answers come. So that's just the most important thing. But there are some other things that kind of come along to help point out the self-awareness around these questions and why. I guess I'll start with why it has value. Like, what is the value of changing the framework? So when we look at the question, why am I doing this thing I wish I wasn't, I don't want to be, I don't like the results of, why am I doing that? When we look at it that way, the word why tries to create a change in my current state by examining my past. And so I'm looking to a past example or failure or thing I'm unhappy with, and by analyzing that, I'm going to try and create a change in my current state that will allow me to affect my future. Right? Now, it's practically paradoxical, right? We focus on the negative, the thing that didn't work, and then to try and change our state from the focusing on the negative, right? And so by changing the framework, if you stop asking why and start asking what is it getting me, we have to look at the current results, right? So what am I examining right now? And when I start examining what I'm examining right now, it's a perspective shift, right? You move your yourself away from the past, you remember the action, right? The action does dictate your current state, so you have to identify the actions that occurred. The idea now is to identify within yourself what are the outcomes for you? What are you experiencing, and what is that personal impact for you, and what did you get? Oh my God, did I do the whole thing? Oh my God, it's all an echo. My life is echoed. I swear one day I'm gonna remember to do that too. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I hear a faint echo. Ooh, that's typed under my name. That means I left my username open somewhere. Okay. Anyway, you know what, guys? That is a total I am sorry, and it's just like the second time I've done this. And God, it's just a mistake I make, and I'm gonna get it. I built a little thing that has post-its. I built a little thing that has post-its so that I can remember all the cues to check, and that's on there. It's right there. But anyway, I'm gonna do a reboot and re-cue it, because actually, let me know. Can you guys hear the echo? Like, was it completely destructive to the whole topic? I feel it is. I'm just... That's okay. I know who it was. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna reboot. It was a 5-minute chat, and I feel like I even can hear it through my own bloody headphones. Anytime I can hear it through my headphones, I know there's an echo. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm gonna do a quick reboot. I'm sorry, I'm gonna delete this video after. Give me 2 seconds, and I will be right back. Infinite technical issues, I tell you. See, like, I can't, it's so, I'm back, right? I come back, and this time, I've done the whole same reboot system, and I have all the presets, so that it can't have an echo. It should never happen. But every once in a while, when I turn off the main program and turn it back on, it just does it. And I don't like it. I shouldn't have to remember to check, because even now when I checked, it was already preset. And you guys can't hear an echo. Anyway, I'm done whining. It's okay. We're past it. I need to re-identify my relationship with technology. I need to do that. I need to have a self-evaluation and find a way to be more present to whatever I'm doing, because I'm definitely doing it. Anyway. Okay, so hey everyone, my name's Jared Bernard, and welcome to Robin Said. Today I am going to talk again about a conversation, well, really a question I've heard myself ask, gosh, 1,000 times, if not many, many more, and many other people in my life ask an equally amount. And that's really just, why am I doing this thing that I know I don't want to be doing? Like, or like, why am I doing the thing that's getting me the result I don't want? Like, why am I procrastinating on this paper? Why am I eating chocolate at 3 a.m.? Why am I not exercising? Like, why don't I do what I feel like is best for me, right? So that question, I just like, I feel like it's been echoed a lot in humanity. And anyway, so to begin to answer that question, or actually to begin to participate in the conversation about that question, I want to talk about a base principle in biology. And that's the idea that a living organism, always acts in accordance with gain. Right? It does something to gain things. It's like it's an evolutionary advantage to act in accordance to gain, right? It's pretty simple. And if we remember that, by remembering that as a base principle of living organisms, which we are, when you ask yourself, why am I doing the thing, by wrapping it in like a blanket answer of to get to be, we're gaining something from it. There's a result, there's something from the result we're gaining. Then we get to start looking at trying to identify what results we're actually trying to get in our lives, right? We're trying to reproduce those same results in a different way. So that's the change I think we're trying to identify when we ask, why am I doing this thing? And then to remember that whenever you ask yourself, why am I doing the thing? Well, it's because there's a result I'm trying to get, right? So then the question changes, right? Now it becomes, what am I trying to gain from this action, right? So like, what do I gain? And try is actually maybe the wrong word. It's what do I gain from this action? Because it's not always conscious, right? We're pretty subconscious beings in a lot of ways. So that becomes the what do you call it? Question you ask, or I would ask, in order to start self-identifying what I'm really getting out of a situation, and then there's a sequence of ways of looking at it that I think helps showing the value of speaking this way. When I think of why I'm doing this thing, what I'm doing is I'm trying to change or create a change in my current state by looking at the past, right? So I examine my past actions or past failures, and I try to derive from that a way to impact my current state, and then to go from there and be able to change my actions in the future. And it's practically dichotomous, right? Focusing on the negative to then create a positive, and then continue to project positivity. And so this is where when I suggest ask what it's getting you, you're looking at the result, which is more current, right? It's now. It's what is currently happening from the actions that have already occurred. And so the actions become more of a list. They become things that we need to acknowledge and need to remember and have people be accountable for. But then at the same time, our experiences are the thing that allow us to decide what we want in our future. So as what do you call it? What is this getting me? Changes your focal point from looking at the past to looking at the present and deciding if, well, what did I like what that got me, and is it the way I want it to be getting me, or is it the way I want it to be gotten to me? Is there another way? Is it healthy? And it allows you to examine the results, right? And so that's, to me, one of the major values, is moving from a past reflective state to a current reflective state, and looking at your state in a way of like, not necessarily like blaming yourself, right? Like when I look at my past, I can blame myself for how poorly I did. It's more, this is the result of what's happened. And even though you can have blame for it, ownership I find is more valuable. Anyway, sorry, this is the ramble that I decided that my notes were designed to keep me away from. Anyway, I think the second start kind of got me on a distraction. Let me get a little tilted. Anyway, refocus. And then there's just one last concept in the whole idea, and that's the idea of analyzing your results. And people commonly think of results as the result of an action, right? Or the result of a thing that occurred. And though that is true, it sort of negates the reality that action has multiple steps. And I think you most simply put it, there's at least 3 steps to all actions, right? There's before the action, there's during the action, and there's after the action. And each parts of those, each one of those steps, has a different result or impact on you. And being aware of which part, I got ate too fast. Being aware of which part of the phases, or which of those phases, before, during, or after is impacting you, is part of the self-awareness element of it all. And if I'm going to be honest, even if you forget all of this and you only remember to start asking yourself, what is this getting me? I think it will lead to a larger understanding of yourself and what you're wanting in the present, and then to put into your future. But as you get into learning that more, if you start thinking about those results and start thinking about the different points at which you experience different results during one action, that will help you understand what you're actually getting out of the sequence in all the actions, all the things occurring. Anyway, that one went a lot more rambling than I wanted it to, if I'm honest. But I feel like it still had a lot of the points in it, but I'm curious if anyone has any takeaways or any reflections. If there's any comments available in the chat, let me know. Anything that's unclear. Otherwise, that was all the things. I really got to work on not having to do the retakes, because the first one just like it flowed. I had all the keywords. I felt like I could read them really well off my paper. Yeah, all right, that's fair. Well, on that note, I'm curious. Like, I feel like that's a fair wrap. I hope this is something that is helpful for some people. If there's any, like I said, any future questions or any ideas you have, please let me know. Put a question down in the comments below. Oh, wait a minute. Can you use a method to deal with eating when you're not hungry? Oh, I mean, it's so the methodology, I feel like, is something that comes after the questions. And so the beginning is, again, identifying. So if you've identified that that's a thing that's happening for you, or that's an experience, then to start, I think for myself is I ask myself, what is that getting me, right? What is eating getting me when I'm not hungry, or what is eating when I'm not hungry getting me? And like search within yourself to find what kind of satisfaction, or what is it fulfilling that you aren't getting elsewhere, right? Like it's essentially all actions that are essentially negative usually can be boiled down to a replacement of a desired positive action. So if there is something like that occurring for you, then ask yourself what might be missing, and what is eating replacing. I can only that's a guess, I think, if I'm being honest, but I'm trying to create a framework. But the idea is actually that when you ask what is eating when I'm not hungry getting me, the more you ask that question, the more you create the framework, right? You're the result of you're the outline of your own actions. So like if you've done X, Y, and Z, by you answering those questions, you'll create, hopefully, the steps to get out of it, or to change it. Because again, it's all about doing a replacement. So if there is, once you acknowledge what it's getting you, now that's the main goal. And I'm not going to tell anyone it's easy. I've only had a few really, well, no, I don't actually think a few. I think there was a while where it was quite easy, and then there was a long time where I forgot about it and I stopped doing it as much. And also, similar to what is it getting me is, am I being who I want to be? Those two things kind of like, they run pretty hand in hand. Excuse me. And then also just like trying to decide on someone you would like to be, and getting as close to that person, not that person, but that type of person as you can find within yourself. And I mean, acceptance is a whole other one. But anyway, I'm going off topic. Does that kind of speak to what you're saying? Self-reflection on what it's getting me will lead me to changing my actions. Ideally, yes. That's my theory, essentially. And I believe, part of what I kind of outlined here was what results is it getting you, and then to look at, like, if we're getting into like the more advanced, like the harder end of it, is like to be able to look at your results from a wide frame, like not just the eating when not hungry, but like try to break that whole thing down as a cycle. What's occurring before it happens, right? Is there a way you're talking to yourself? Is there a triggering event that's happening? Try and find something. What if that's what I want to do? Well, I mean, if you're not feeling bad about it, right? Like if you're, I mean, that's gonna be I think the base, the final thing is, right? It's like how do we perceive our own lives? So if we perceive our own a negative action as not bad for us and it doesn't bother us, then do it. I think there's a great saying out there was, find what you love and do it until it kills you. Like, I feel like that makes some sense on a lot of levels. I'm sure there's some unhealthy things about it, but I think though the one thing is if we are doing something unhealthy, like really innately unhealthy, there's always value in self-assessing, right? Like if you're I mean, unless of course you're one of those people who over-assess, which I think I kind of am. I definitely have had the over-assessment times in my life. I think too much, I've been told. So yeah, that's the thing, is just making sure you're taking the time to self-assess. That's going to be a common theme in a lot of my videos. And this is one of those questions, one of the questions I think to move towards, and why is one of the questions to move away. And that's so kind of like that. I think that might be just one of the premises of the video. If you hear yourself asking yourself why you're doing this thing, try to remember to replace it with, well, what is that getting me? What is this thing getting me? And then as you hear that or ask that, listen, like just listen to what comes up, because I will challenge most people to try it and hear for the question that comes up. And I don't know, some of this could be hard. Like some people are dealing with deeper things than I definitely am. Like, well, obviously that's going to be a given. And just so like, what is it? Everyone knows is to be cautious of yourself. You know, care for yourself as you're going through this process. And for me, that's the point, right? When I start doing this, it's about caring for myself. And honestly, the times I've not done it is usually when I've stopped caring for myself, and I've gotten a lot more into my depressions and my sadness and my negative thoughts. And, this helps me get away from it. And actually, I think one of the times I abandon it is when I get into my negative frameworks, so that way I don't have to I hold myself accountable for the way I'm thinking. And now how do you put it? I hope that doesn't in any way speak down to any mental illness issues. It's just that those are my personal acknowledgments around the things I face, and I'm never going to say that's going to be the same for everyone, because that's a different world. But these are just things that I think have helped me. So, and that's always going to be a thing I'm going to be talking about, is generally the idea that anything I present here, I don't know it'll work for you. I don't know it's going to be great for the world. It's just when I'm doing this stuff, I find I get the results, and I get to be the person I want the most, and I get the results I want out of life the most. And when I'm not doing this stuff, I definitely am not. I find myself not being the person I want, and I am not getting the results. And yeah, that's that. Anything else? I feel like that's really spoken to the topic. I have no idea how long we've been on. Oh, actually, it's been almost, I guess, a good 20 minutes. Maybe even closer to 16 or 17 minutes. But anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming out, and thanks a lot, Ma, for coming out and having the chat, and anybody else who came out to chat, anybody else who sees the video. Yeah. I don't know. I hope this helps, or at least points you in a direction of what help might look like, because I can't say I always know. But yeah, I appreciate for all of you that are out there, and I will talk to you guys soon. Next time, I will have my little thing up, and it will allow me to not have an echo. It's gonna happen. All right, bye guys.